Hello, my name is Emma Reeby. Welcome back to Empowered Cello, a channel and community for adults learning the cello. Today I'm going to teach you two simple exercises that I specifically give to my adult students to solve this problem, playing out of tune. I have a lot of adults who feel like they don't play in tune consistently across the cello strings. So when they're moving laterally down the cello from their A to their D to their G to their C string, they feel like they're getting out of tune when they try to change strings. I created these two exercises for my adult students who were struggling with this, and this seemed to fill in the gap. And so that's what I'm going to be teaching today. Make sure to hit subscribe so that you don't miss my weekly videos on strategies, technique, tips, and tricks for adults learning the cello. Let's get started. So the purpose of these two exercises is to help you develop your muscle memory of where first position is on the cello. You may be playing with musician's tapes if you're just getting started, but that's not a perfect science. They move over time. And really, you want to be developing your ear so that you can identify if you're in tune or not, because eventually the training wheels are coming off. You're going to want to remove your tapes, and you're going to become more accurate without them because you'll be using your ear. So part of how to develop your ear to help identify first position and have better intonation overall is first you have to know what a ring tone is. A ring tone. A ring tone is a pitch on the cello that you play with your finger that's next to the same pitch that is an open string. So for instance, fourth finger on the D string is a G, and the string below it is an open G. Fourth finger on the A string is a D, and the open string below it is an open D. Fourth finger on the G string, you've probably guessed by now, is a C, and the open string below it is also C. So if you play these pitches perfectly in tune, it will cause the open string next to it to vibrate also because it's matching the frequency of that pitch. And then it will make that note played resonant and ring out much more than if it was out of tune. If the note's played out of tune, the sound will stop and die. If it's in tune, then it's a ring tone, and your open string next to it will ring, and you will hear a long ring after you've stopped playing the note. So the first thing you need to do is practice listening for the ring tone. Here's how you do it. Let's start with fourth finger on the D string, which is G. So if we play this in tune, our open G string will ring, and then the actual note itself we're playing will ring even more, and it will sound beautiful. So you're going to play that note, and then pause with your bow on the string to test if the note keeps ringing. You don't want to lift your bow off because then you're tugging on the string and getting it spinning that way. You want this to be like a pure test with no other variables. So you're going to play with the bow paused on the string. So I'll demonstrate here. Okay, so that was in tune. And the reason I know that is because the note kept ringing. So listen closely here. The other thing you can do is look down and see if the open string below it is physically vibrating. If it is, that's another sign you're in tune. Now I'm going to play this for you out of tune so you can hear the difference. Did you notice just now how the sound just suddenly stopped? It didn't have that glow, that ring. I say in my course for adults, I call it the afterglow, that shimmery ringing sound that happens after you stop the note. So first of all, you want to practice identifying the ring tones and then listening for them so that you can hear the difference between in tune and out of tune. An in tune cello rings. So you can think of it like your cello is talking to you, telling you if you are in tune or not. If your cello is happy and in tune, it's going to be ringing. It's going to make your sound feel bigger and fuller and more resonant. And out of tune cello is not saying a peep. Okay, So that's step 1, is just identifying the ringtones. For now, you're going to practice on the first 3 strings. 4, 4, 4, like I kind of introduced a second ago. So then once you're comfortable with finding the ringtones, you're going to practice what I call the hopping 4s exercise. This exercise is you playing 4th finger on the A string and then moving your arm laterally, keeping the thumb loose so that you're not squeezing, so that your whole arm-hand setup comes around together versus just your fingers. And what you're doing is you're practicing identifying the ringtone as you go down. And so, therefore, you're developing muscle memory of where those are on each string. That's going to solidify your muscle memory of first position a lot more than just trying to find musician tapes, because you're going based on sound. So I'll demonstrate this exercise for you. You have to make sure each note rings before moving on. Now, F on the C string won't ring like the other 3 will because there's not an open F. But it's still good to add it into your exercise to practice this lateral movement. Okay? So that's exercise 1, which is the hopping 4s. What you will probably notice is that maybe your arm and thumb were a little bit tight trying to reach to the bottom strings, and maybe you just need to think about your arm moving your hand down so that you can really balance on each string to find that ringtone. And what you may notice too is that because the bridge is round and the strings are at a bit of a curvature, your arm angle might have to change slightly to find that perfect intonation. Okay, so that is your first exercise after you establish your ringtones, is hopping 4s. And you're going to play the note until it rings, and then go to the next one, play it till it rings, and so forth. And what you're working towards is to be able to land on each note the first time. So you're developing that muscle memory. The second exercise is a continuation or an extension of the hopping 4s, and it's called 4 1s. So I added this on because I had an adult student doing this because she had a really hard time finding first position, even with the tapes. But then, once she found all her 4s, her 1s were consistently sharp. So I added the 4 1 to this exercise to practice a slight opening of the 1. So let's break that down. If you hold your hand up in the air like you're holding a glass of water, and it's nice and soft, round, your thumb is hovering behind your middle finger or your second cello finger, what I'd like you to do is just a quick point up with your 1. Notice how you're opening up at a diagonal, like a scissor kick, rather than a spread. Okay, so depending on how tall you are, how big your hands are, you might need to do the slight opening of a 1 if you're pivoting between a 4th finger note and a 1st finger note. So this second exercise expands upon just really getting your blocked hand shape set so that all of the notes can be in tune. Your 4 is in tune when you land, and your 1 will be in tune when you land as well, and when you move down. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If I put my 4th finger on the A string, if I don't do anything with my 1st finger, it's quite sharp. I have to build in this habit of slightly pointing my 1st finger up that scissor kick open to make sure that it's not sharp. So what I do for this next exercise is I have my students listen carefully and play their 1 without opening it up, and then play their 1 with it opening up, and see if they can hear that the second option is more in tune. And if they can hear that and kind of start to develop that pitch with their ear, then they can start to add the 1s to the hopping 4s exercise. Okay, move over, find my ringtone on the D string. Open up my 1 slightly. Same thing, and etc. So this just adds a little bit of detail, a little bit of nuance to really get that first position hand in tune. So that is the second exercise, 4 ones down the cello, and then you can do both of these exercises in reverse, going from the bottom to the top. That would be really thorough and good to add in as well. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. These are simple exercises that can really solidify your muscle memory of first position. I find that pretty much all of my adult students needed that extra step to just really boost that confidence for them. So let me know if this is helpful. If you're looking for more information, you can download my blueprint for adult beginners. I'll link it to this video. You can also join my email list if you'd like, where I email out weekly tips and strategies. And I think that's it for today. So I will see you guys next week. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.